Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this session on Powerboost. Also, welcome to a new month, the month of October. This month of October reminds us of two very powerful qualities, if I may say so, or issues. One is nonviolence, it being Mahatma Gandhi's birthday yesterday, October 2nd. And he really showed us a beautiful example of what nonviolence could do, the power of nonviolence. And the other is October is Mental Health Month. And there is a lot of concern with what is happening in our world and the mental health issues and challenges that many, unfortunately, are experiencing, whether mildly or seriously. But it is something that we need to address. And so before things get out of hand, I thought today we can spend some time and reflect on developing this nonviolent response towards myself so that I keep my mental health very high. I keep myself healthy mentally and don't get to the point where I feel overstressed or over anxious. When we say nonviolence, many times people think about violence on the physical level, not hitting someone or not hurting someone in a physical way. But violence can also mean or be expressed through words, and violence can also be expressed through thoughts. I may have very, very violent thoughts towards someone or a situation, and actually it's a reflection of my having violent thoughts towards myself. Many times, I'm sure you will agree that, when we make mistakes, we tend to blame ourselves. Or when things don't go right, we tend to blame ourselves for something going wrong. Like when parents, if their children, unfortunately, they take to a wrong path, then sometimes parents are a little bit too harsh on themselves and they blame themselves a lot. It is not easy, and it is a little challenging to find that narrow margin where I accept responsibility and I'm accountable for what I've done or didn't do, and not blaming or feeling guilty for having done or not doing it. And if I'm not able to find that margin and understand what it means, we actually end up being violent towards ourselves. And so I thought that today, rather than going into all the details of this, because this is very delicate issues, so instead of going into the minute details, which I think you understand what I'm trying to say here. So instead of going into that, if we can spend these few minutes accepting ourselves for who we are and for what we've done or not do or haven't done. And rather than blaming ourselves or being so violent on ourselves, so harsh, can we turn that around and accept it, embrace our mistakes, and then make a determined thought to correct it or improve on it? Because you would agree that beating ourselves up is not going to help. It never helped anybody. It hasn't helped us, and it will never help. That and that's a given. So, but this habit of beating ourselves up, which then in turn get expressed in the outward way, where we beat others up, maybe not physically, but like I said, through our words. The words we say can hurt more than if we actually hit somebody. Or our attitude, our body language, our facial expressions. These things can sometimes hurt also because it confuses people. We're not saying anything. As we use this expression, the silent treatment. So we're not saying anything. We're just saying a lot through our body language, which can confuse the other person because now you don't know what you're thinking and where you're at. So it's creating a lot of unnecessary pain and sorrow in people's minds. And I understand sometimes, we feel we need to do the silent treatment, but it doesn't end there. We have to come to a point where we address these things. Silence is not always golden. There comes a time when we have to speak. Or if we can't speak, we have to work it out internally. So, as smart, wise, mature, sensible adults, can we observe our own life and accept our mistakes or accept the times when we slip up, embrace it, and then commit to transforming it? Because if we can't do that for our own self, how are we going to accept somebody else for the mistakes that they've made? Not that you may agree with the mistakes, maybe wrong, because sometimes people say wrong, but wrong is wrong. It's true, wrong is wrong. We might not agree, which is, if it's wrong, it's wrong. But having this negativity is not going to help the situation. If I've learned to accept myself and embrace that, it becomes so much easier for me to accept the other. Okay, they've made this mistake. All right, they've done this. Now, what do we need to do so that we can make this situation a better one for all parties involved? What steps do we need to take? How do we resolve this? Because anything done in anger or hatred or jealousy or envy or ego or anything negative will always bring a negative result. That's the law of nature. And we can't change that no matter what we try to do. That's what it is. So why not choose to do something that will bring some better consequences, that will make our life a little easier? And what better place to start than with ourselves? To be a little bit more nonviolent towards our own self. Learn to love ourselves, learn to accept ourselves for who we are. And then make a plan on how you want to see yourself better. So for this meditation, this is exactly what we're going to do. Even if we don't come up with a full plan, but at least bring the clarity inside yourself. So let us take a deep breath in. Let us relax ourselves, because we're going to do a little bit of soul checking here and see how we can and what we can do to lessen the burden. So take a deep breath in and relax. Take another deep breath in and release as you allow your body to relax. And let your breathing be deep, regular, and natural. Sitting in this place of peace, I take this moment to connect with my inner light that is situated behind the eyes. I connect with that light, with that star of energy. And I allow all other thoughts of the world to fade away. And as I concentrate on that light, I realize that this divine spark of light radiates with a peace that is so energizing. And very calming. I hold my attention on this light, sparkling like a star, realizing that this light is pure consciousness, and it is who I am. I am light. I am pure consciousness. Peace, nonviolence, compassion, kindness. This is who I am. And when I stay connected with this inner light, I can be true to myself. the decisions I make will reflect my innate nature. It is when I slip from this consciousness and I become influenced by external factors that my decisions are made by anger or hurt, which then bring unwanted consequences. When I choose to stay aligned with my inner self, that beautiful star, how can I be violent? There is no blame, no guilt, but instead acceptance for what is or isn't. And the realization of what I need to do and can do to resolve or transform. I take this moment to embrace myself with loving feelings of acceptance and compassion. For everything depends on how I see myself and how I treat myself. Let me commit today, at least, to be nonviolent towards myself, for this is truly the way of love. Take a deep breath in and release, holding yourself in that inner space of love, acceptance, and nonviolence. Om Shanti. So thank you all very much. We've only barely touched on this subject. It goes very deep, but by exploring it some more on your own, it will open up a lot more beauty and strength that you discover in yourself. So all the best, and stay healthy mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually.